Hi, I'm Michelle Vickers.
And I'm Christine Beverly.
Welcome to the Consciousness Insider.
This week we have another great question that came from Heather. And Heather writes, "Hi Michelle, I find that I easily relate to your experience in life in the way you connect to healing people and speaking to their soul from your soul. I've walked the line of the mind and body and ended up having my soul be the only thing left speaking to me to get me through years of trauma. It was the light whispering inside of me that my soul was still speaking to me to stand up and fight. I find others enjoy speaking to me now that I have connected to my soul, and am able to speak to them from it, which it turns out they start digging deeper in return. I was interested in what you were perhaps wondering about in your own personal journey at this present moment. What questions do you wonder about that are unanswered about the soul? Is there an estimate on how many people on earth listen to their souls versus those who have not connected to guide them? Thank you kindly, Heather."
Hi, Heather. Thank you so much for asking this question. It's actually really awesome because so rarely do people ask questions about what's important to me and where I am on my journey. So thank you for this opportunity. It's super fun. So ultimately, what I have learned since I've been doing this, and I've only been doing it for 15 years. So, it's not, I'm still learning and I will always be learning. But the one thing that I spent a lot of time refining in the first 8 or 9 years of this journey was really how I do what I do and learning how to get to a place where I was as clean as possible. And that was a lot of fun, actually. I had to go through all of my stuff, and I still have more, but I had to go through the big ones, and I had to learn my process for going through it. And really what I learned is that it's the same process no matter where you are in your journey. Really, every single time, it's exactly the same process. You have to be willing to see the truth in order to overcome where you are, because our brains are very committed to what we believe in. So committed that we block ourselves from opportunity all the time. That's really the greatest challenge, that most people have when they're trying to discover who they are, And so ultimately, when I was able to overcome that, and I really had to then embody it, not only for myself, and that's really what drives me, is being of service to other people, because I know that everything I overcome, I'm overcoming it for the people I work with, which makes it that much more important. And it gives it perspective, it gives me perspective. And I'm always trying to be a better human being, always. And, some days I rock it and some days I suck. And some days they're just mediocre. But for the most part, that's really my goal. And I think I say that Christine and I have been friends for 9 years now. And it's regular. We have that conversation, is just, how can I be a better human being? And for me, what does that mean? That means that I'm always willing to look at what I need to see and what I need to learn. So, there is no specific thing that I'm working on or working towards. It's always whatever is right in front of me, because my soul knows exactly what I need to be working on. My mind does not have the capacity to know what's best for me, because my mind only knows my past. So if I am present and aware of all the messages and all the signs and the experiences that the universe is sending me to become aware of a certain dynamic that I know I need to overcome now, then I'm winning. And that's really what's been the most fulfilling part of this journey, is that I've overcome so much that I am an entirely different person than I was 15 years ago. It's unrecognizable. I mean, physically I look the same. I'm walking down the street and but for the most part, to have a conversation with me is entirely different, because I am an entirely different human being. I am choosing to be someone very different than I was taught to be. And that's really, for me, and that's what I do. I help people overcome who they think they are and who they think they need to be based on all the experiences and all the things that you have in your mind, and it's tricky. It's a challenge, but yet it's the most rewarding challenge on the planet, because when you overcome your stuff. And when you're in alignment with your soul, you're in alignment with the universe, which means you're now evolving. And that's what we were created to do as human beings. We were created to evolve. Most people are not evolving. They're just recreating the wheel over and over and over again. It's like, oh, I got this revolutionary new, way of doing this, or way of building that, or way of eating this. But they're all new spins on things that have already been done. It's like, electronic companies coming out with a brand new revolutionary, what do they call it? Groundbreaking technology. The reality is technology is technology. It's going to evolve, but it's always going to be limited because it's limited to the physical stream, period. It's never going to be revolutionary. Human beings are revolutionary creations. We are designed to evolve and become exactly what we have the potential to be. It's our minds that hold us back from having that experience. So as human beings on this journey, our job is to look at our stuff. It doesn't matter where your stuff is, how much stuff you have. There's no judgment. The whole point is looking at your stuff so you can move on. And our minds are so programmed to judge that we become uncomfortable when stuff comes up, so we don't actually look at the truth. We don't want to go all the way to the truth. Our minds will come to a place where we determine, okay, this is it. This is the truth. I found it. And, Christine can attest to, it's a process. And the best thing for me that has been on this journey and for this process is Christine, in the sense that I have another human being who will let me talk it through without any judgment, without any needing to draw the lines. Because she understands that as I talk it through, I'm opening to more awareness.
Absolutely.
More energy.
You're getting out of your head.
And then I can get that information. You have to get out of your head and out of your way enough to be open to the truth coming in. If you can't get there, then you're never going to see it. It's just...
There are so many times when I have been so sure that this is it. I'm here. It's a new way. I completely see things differently. It's a whole new perspective, when in reality, talking it through with you and another friend, why are you laughing at me? In reality, it was just the same thing in a different package or another version of what I was already doing, as opposed to fundamentally changing my state of being in relation to whatever it is I'm working on.
100%. And I think both of us, we had a great one, each of us this week already, that's the great thing about this evolution, is that it's constantly happening. It never ends. And that's what makes it so engaging, right? Absolutely. We were on the phone in the last 2 days, probably about 4 hours.
Yep.
I would say 4 hours, because the conversation starts and we open it up. I'll say something, or Christine will say something, or she'll be working on something and she wants to create it. And then we have this little conversation about it. And then what happens is, when you have a conversation about it, now you're open to hearing more and you're open to going deeper. So Christine goes off in her life, she's getting her deeper, I'm going off in my life. And then all of a sudden it's like, I got more. And for me, it'll come when I'm driving in the car or, having a shower. And then I call her back and I'm like, okay, here we go. We got more. And the reality is, there is a process to being able to receive truth. So it's easy for people when they come to me and they're like, okay, this is, and in reality, now I'm at the place where most of my clients come and they don't say anything. It's easier for their soul to say, this is what you're working on, this is what you need to do, and this is how it's going to happen and it's going to evolve, which is great, because then they're not deciding what they're working on. Because I can tell you, in the old days, when I first started doing this, I was following my client's lead, and it sucked. It sucked because I wasn't giving them the results they needed. Why? Because they thought they knew what they were working on.
They were directing it.
And that's really what the process is that I work with Christine, is I work through it so that I'm not directing it. I have to get all my mind stuff out of the way so that I can open up and receive that soul awareness. So it's a little bit different for me, but at the end of the day, it's really about allowing yourself to see the truth so that you can move on. And what you want to do, and what I do on a regular basis, is wherever I'm having an emotional reaction, wow, I know there's something there that my soul is saying, look here, this is your sweet spot. This is your hot spot. This is what you're working on right now. And it's cool because once I notice it, then, and that's really the key, is noticing that you're not just frustrated or annoyed or angry for no reason, or because someone else did something to you, because that's a lot of other people's go-to. They're angry at other people and they just stay in their anger at other people, instead of your anger at someone else or an experience or a situation is an ignition for you to look inside of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I had direct experience of that one just yesterday.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's so cool.
It was great.
Because once you realize that everything is happening so you can learn about yourself, now you're on a whole different playing field. And now you get to open up to truth left, right, and center. Everything becomes a journey of truth. And that's what I hope for all my clients. Ultimately, that's why I do the work that I do, because my goal is to get everyone so open to their truth that, you know, they don't judge themselves, which means now you don't embody the ability to judge another human being. When you don't have fear or you don't have anger about your journey, you no longer have fear or anger towards other people. And for me, that's making a better humanity. And that's me being able to be a better human being. So I feel like, did we miss anything?
Yeah, there was more from Heather's question, that she was really wanting to know how many people on earth listen to their souls versus those who haven't yet connected to guide them.
That's a really cool question,
Yeah.
actually. And the reason I love it is because it's universal and it's big. But ultimately, you know, everyone has a soul, and 90% of people are aware of an inner voice. Now, about 8 or 9% are actually listening to it.
Wow.
That's a
small
what they're
percentage.
saying. 100% bang on. So 90% are aware, 90%. And, you know, I think we see that in all areas. You know, we've talked about that on past episodes as well, in different episodes like addiction. You know, people don't become addicted to anything for no reason. People are in addiction. It doesn't matter what the addiction is. You become addicted because you want to turn your brain off from feeling and from
not
being
paying
open.
attention.
That's right. I mean, for me,
Of seeing the truth.
the way that I stayed numb was alcohol, like partying with my friends on the weekends, going out, having a few drinks, lots of music. The radio was on 24 hours a day. If I was awake, the radio in my house was on, the TV was on, there was always something on. And that was the point. Everything else was on, so I didn't have to be. And so I think, you know, you can see that totally makes sense. 90% are aware.
Yes.
And 8 or 9% are actually listening. So thank you. Such a cool question.
Thanks, Michelle.
And was there any more?
No, that was really great.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Heather, for asking your questions. Really enjoyed hearing Michelle's answers to that, and hopefully all the other listeners too really enjoyed hearing how she works and a little bit more about her process. And if you'd like to have your question answered by your soul, then just visit us at michellevickers.com. On the Consciousness Insider page, there'll be a form, fill it out, and hopefully your question will be selected for an upcoming episode. Thanks again.
Oh, and when you're asking your question, be sure to let us know why you want to ask that question, you know, even if it's about your own journey. Because if you just say, am I going to be healthy? Or, you know, is my health okay? It doesn't give us enough to work with. So for me, I can go in and I can feel it, but for everyone watching at home, it doesn't let them know where you're at and what you're feeling so that they can understand if it's also relatable to them. Because at the end of the day, we created this show to help as many people as possible, going back to that being a better human. So if you can help us do that, which we appreciate. So everyone that asks questions, and the ones that we're really profiling are the ones that allow us to really show that you guys watching at home just how much we're feeling the same, and we're feeling, you know, the same struggles, so that we can start to overcome them. Okay? So thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.